What's okay to steal? Your own bike back. This happened to me as a kid. Got my first big boy bike as a present, went to a friend's house and chained it outside. Not even 15 minutes pass, we walk out, chain has been cut and bike's gone. I even spotted the kid that stole it right away in the distance. My dad was pissed, but wasn't really my fault. Anyway, spotted some kid riding it a few weeks later near an arcade. I knew it was my bike because the kid that stole it didn't even bother to take off the Venom and Spider-Man stickers that I slapped on it. I was with 3 other friends when I recovered it, so the kid that stole it didn't even try arguing or verbally fight back. He just stood there silently as I told him to give me my bike back. Me and the boys going to get my Venom and Spider-Man bike back. Regulators, mount up. Wi-Fi from the jack in the box by my house. Got through grad school leeching from an unsecured signal. My first app in 2010 didn't have Wi-Fi and there was no way 19-year-old me could afford it. Luckily back in the day most people didn't secure their Wi-Fi, so I had 8 options. Good old Linksys. Even secured Linksys, admin. Academic papers and textbooks. The actual authors don't see a cent of it, it all goes to the publisher who get to charge like $40 to read it once. Oh, and also in order to submit to those journals, you have to pay for it. Definitely don't ever type sci-hub.say into your browser if you're looking for access to a paper. It certainly doesn't have a database of pirated journal articles, or really practically anything with a DOI. Ada, you also definitely can't download the file as a PDF. And clicking the source on the left side will not copy the citation to your clipboard. And it's absolutely not mirrored at sci-hub.st or sci-hub.ru if your ISP blocks it. Or libgen.is. Definitely doesn't have digital copies of nearly any novel, textbook or pretty much anything with an ISBN. And if you can't find your book on Libgen, you'll probably find it on the ebooks channel on Urchiway. Say hello to HexChat. If you ever run into paywalls on news articles, definitely don't visit 12feet.io. You def would never want to type bok.cc for any book you might want. That would be crazy. E-textbooks. Pearsons can go F themselves. Yes. The online textbook viewer is awful too. Once I had to buy a $230 Pearson math textbook. I hated it, and it had multiple wrong answers in the practice question answer key. I returned it 2 weeks later and just found a PDF online. Wrong answers? Excuse me? That should be straight up illegal. It's ducking everywhere. I had more difficulty in college because of wrong answer keys than from actual difficult concepts. And that shit was hard. Second, third, or home in a baseball game. Stealing first would look hilarious because you know the pitcher would just be standing there like TF do I do? You can if the catcher misses. For those not as well versed as Kenny 13, if the pitcher throws strike 3 and the catcher doesn't catch it, the batter may attempt to steal first. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. If it does happen, the pitcher is still credited with the strikeout, but it ruins any perfect game attempt. It's way more common in low-end ball and it's super funny to watch happen. When I was 13ish I umped Little League. It happened every few innings. In Little League we were taught that if we strike out just sprint to first because it's likely the kid playing catcher miss lol. Old Nintendo games. If they refuse to maintain their old game systems then there's nothing wrong with emulating them. Yeah, if you can't even buy a game anymore, there is no ethical argument against pirating. Technically you can track down an old physical copy, but at that point you're only benefiting some reseller, not the people who actually own the rights to the game. Even if you found the hardware too, it might not even work anymore. Living over a decade in Japan, I've come to the conclusion that umbrellas are fair game. Take an umbrella, leave an umbrella. Who buys an umbrella anyway? You can get them for free at the coffee shop in those metal cans. Those belong to people. Something that was stolen from you. A friend of mine had 2 of his horses stolen. Police told us this is more trouble than it's worth, so we were on our own. We tracked down the horses and stole them back. Edit, link to proof and more info about the story. How did you track down the horses? And steal them back? This seems like quite a story. LoJack Horseman. Digital goods that are no longer sold or distributed by any other means other than piracy. You wouldn't download a bear. I'd download your mom if there was a hard drive big enough. Your mom joke for the 21st century, and it's better than any I've ever heard before. Beautiful. My heart. What about your bone marrow? This guy's bone marrow. This album. Fi-e-a-a-a-o-o. Honestly? We're my fellow corporate office supply kleptos. Don't lie. When I was getting out of the Navy packing up to move, I found about 150 black for official use only pens. I kept 10 and took the rest back to the shop. You found 130 pens, you say? 120 pens were found unattended? For shame. I was told 110 pens were recently found. I heard it was actually only an even 100 pens. Anything from the trash or dumpster, anything. My pop used to work midnights and do some dumpster diving during his rounds. It was usually mostly odd junk. Then one morning he came home with a brand new set of expensive cookware from, let's say it rhymes with Alphalon, and my mom was absolutely ecstatic. Apparently it was worth several hundreds of dollars, but these were just slightly blemished. You really had to look, but they had random scuff marks or small dents so they couldn't be sold. A few days later, he comes home with a big-ass turkey roasting pan and some other smaller accessories. At this point he might as well be Santa Claus according to my mom. Next week, he comes home all bummed out. The company clearly caught on and every piece he pulled out had a hole drilled right through the bottom. We still have those pans, though. What a dick move on the company's part, it's not like they got anything out of screwing you out of it. Adobe products. I'm still using a copy of Photoshop 6 that fell off a truck back in 2000. The picture of a NFT. You don't have to steal it, you can just right-click and copy. No harm done. Whoa. You wouldn't download a car, would you? Well, I have played Forza, so yes. One time Amazon sent me 2 of the same product but I only paid for and needed one, so I sent the extra back and got the refund. I like to think I stole from Amazon that day. If you're Nicolas Cage, the Declaration of Independence. Media and in particular games that have no longer first-party releases and the only way to get them is through third-party overpriced sellers. In other words, it is morally just to emulate obscure vidya. Honestly, pirates have saved so many video games from oblivion. At this point, insulin. From companies though, not from diabetics that'd be extra ducked up. Well, that would have been good to know. Now I've indirectly killed 3 diabetics. It's alright mate, no diabetic is coming for revenge. It's far too sweet. Duck lol. Animals from animal abusers. The ducks at the lake. They're free. I have 28 ducks. After giving birth, anything in the hospital room that's not nailed down. Mom, please put the nurse back where you found her. No. As a member of the Thieves Guild, we abide by the directive, never steal that which can't be held. So, reverse engineer that. 1. Never steal from another member of the guild. 2. Never kill anyone on the job. This is not the Dark Brotherhood. Animals and monsters can be slain if necessary. 3. Don't steal from the poor. The peasants and beggars are under the personal protection of the Grey Fox, particularly on the waterfront. Man, this is just reminding me how whack Skyrim's guild quests were compared to Oblivion. They really were. Oblivion's factions were far more immersive.